Will Compton took me to his pantry last night after I fired off a pretty snippy tweet at him and then went on Barstool Radio today. Fore Play, presented by Barstool Sports. We got myself, Frankie, and Dan Rappaport, Trent Ryan of Chicks in the Office, mega fame at this point, I would say, is moving. He's moving back to New York City, so he's not going to be able to join the show today. We got much to discuss. We had the whole Netflix series, the show, Netflix Cup, I guess that it was. There's a lot to break down from that. Tiger Woods is caddying again. A little bit of a Barstool drama that myself and Frankie and Fore Play as a whole have been involved in the last couple of days. I just got back from the Pebble Beach 100-hole hike with TaylorMade and Youth on Course, which might be, of all boondoggles, the number one boondoggle in history, which I'm very happy about. It was a great time. But fellas, with some Rory comments, some very fiery Rory comments. So yeah, hello everyone. Oh, we got a Wyndham Clark video. So a little administrative stuff. Wyndham Clark today. Are we doing 2 p.m. again? 2 p.m. Eastern?
Yep.
2 p.m.
The Buffalo Bills are horrible. Speaking of the Alex Bush's voice coming in there, but
they fucking
2 p.m. Wyndham Clark at Greyhawk Golf Club, the Talon course, pretty much right across the street where he lives, but he hasn't really played there that much. U.S. Open champion. He's going through a little bit of a celebration, I noticed, kind of end of the year. Ryder Cup's over. He's been kind of on a little bit, if you follow him on Instagram, he took the cup to Vegas, the United States Open trophy, and just kind of hanging. And then he played a great match a couple weeks ago with us out here in Scottsdale. So that 4-man Scramble's back. We really have only done, 7 total against PGA Tour pros. So these are big videos we had. This year we had Billy Horschel, Adam Scott. We're filming another one in random Louisiana coming up here in a few days. So these don't happen that often. Check out the Wyndham Clark video. He's a fantastic guy. He's way more, he was way more just personality wise. He was out there. He was chirping us. He was into it than I thought he was going to be. It's also, there's a really cool element. Like Dan was caddying for him sort of. So it was almost like 9 at mine at the same time, interviewing him about his putter and all kinds of things that were involved in winning the U.S. Open and the Ryder Cup and all that. So fantastic video.
Really good stuff. And a lot of people just off the rip are going to think it's Robbie Berger, but you're gonna click thinking it's Robbie, and then you're gonna stay because it's the U.S. Open champ. So I think we're gonna get a lot of people just on from all different fronts. Wyndham was great, and the video is awesome. I'm editing the teaser right now, and I was gonna ask like Alex and all these guys if I was allowed to use. I have like a sick teaser I'm making where he's walking up to the driving range, and like on certain beats, it flashes him holding up the trophy, and then like him hugging his caddy. Like I'm really setting the tone that we're playing the U.S. Open champion.
Oh yeah.
And I know you're not allowed to like use footage, but sometimes like if you bleed it in, I think it's okay. If it's like
there's like a fair use thing about if it's used for like a storytelling purpose. I think
definitely I'm using it over, like I'm using it within a teaser. So maybe it's like that fair use thing. I don't think the USGA would necessarily be mad. It's not like we're using that footage.
You're sneaking one past the goalie a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's just part of it.
Shouldn't have said it on a really popular podcast, but we'll see. It's already out, so I tweeted out last night, so it is what it is.
It's just I'll take it down. Incriminating ourselves. He was awesome. He is the US. He hits the ball a fucking mile. This guy.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was the coolest. We've done like Max Homa is. Oh, this is also the first current top 10 ranked player in the world that we've ever done one with. We determined, I think, that Max was like 13th or so in the world when we played against him last year. So. Wyndham, number 10 in the world when we filmed the video, so top 10 player. Max, don't get me wrong, Max hits the ball unbelievably well. He's had an insane stretch the last several years. He's top 10 player in the world now, and the Ryder Cup star, the President's Cup star. But like from sheer awe of just a guy who Wyndham is like not much, he's like not bigger really than we are. I'm sure he works out and is stronger than you would look, but he sends the ball a fucking mile. He plays fast. He steps up there quickly. He was hitting his 3-wood like 305 yards, and it was still coming out of overseed out here. So you're getting 0 roll on one hole on the par 5 on the back. He hit one 365. That's pretty much all carry. And I was just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's a cut too every time. Which us we hit cuts and they lose distance. He hits this like low spin power cut. I think I wrote this after the Ryder Cup. He's the most impressive golfer I think on tour right now, other than Rory. Just in terms of shots that make you be like, holy shit! Like I remember he hit one at the Ryder Cup. I think it was 295 uphill into the par 5 on the back. He hits it like pin high. He just hits those shots where you're like, Max is sort of like you're never going to hit it like Max, but you've seen those distances before. Wyndham has a gear, an electric level of golf that not many guys on tour can reach. So I enjoyed it. I think people are going to like we sprinkled in a little bit more of, I was there. I was talking to him, kind of caddying for him, a little bit of an interview. I'm interested to see how the boys handle that in the edit process, because we're not trying to mess with a winning formula. We're just trying to add to it. So I think it'll be really cool.
Yeah, we determined that the 4-man scramble kind of gets ruined if Dan's on it, because your whole idea is like weekend golfers who kind of slap it around playing against PGA Tour pros, and Dan, you're a scratch golfer, +1 or 2, whatever it is. So anyway, Dan you were definitely involved interviewing him. So I'm excited to watch it, because I don't really see these bad boys till they come out for final cut. Hopefully we don't get DMCA'd from Frankie stealing USGA footage of him winning the US Open. But yeah, that video is coming out 2 p.m. Eastern, so check that bad boy out. Chevrolet, baby. Go to Chevy.com/electric. That is Chevy.com/electric. Go to that URL right now. Chevy is obviously a trusted brand with innovation and scale. When we were at NASCAR a little over a week ago, just seeing how iconic Chevy is, it was a nice reminder. Chevy, racing, auto, and just like how intrinsically tied Chevy is to pretty much everything auto, and vehicles, and like the bow tie and how long they've been doing it. It was a nice reminder for me.
Motors, man, engines. It's very wide applications.
It's what they've been doing. They've been doing it for 100 years, for over 100 years. They've always been there for you before. Who better to take you into this next phase, the future? We love to talk about the future on this show. Electric vehicles. We talk about AI and all this stuff. Technology has gotten to the point where it's EVs, it's electric. That's where you need to be. That's where it's going. And Chevy's been doing it for over a decade, selling hybrids and all electric. So do yourself a solid. Go to Chevy.com right now /electric. That's Chevy.com /electric. All your favorite models, from the Silverado and the Bolt and the Blazer and all that good stuff, they're there in the EV form. So go check out Chevy.com /electric. One final just kind of thank you to TaylorMade and Youth on Course. It really did mean a lot to them that I won. We have the leaderboard with all these names out there in terms of raising money. We got to like $27,000 or $28,000. Really blew away the field in terms of raising money. Everybody kind of had their own link, and then you put it all together. It was like over 110 grand that was raised in total. J.R. Smith was out there. He's like the nicest dude ever, who's clearly just taking like a several year victory lap, because that guy is playing golf. He's boozing. He's got stogies. He was awesome to hang with. This guy, do you guys follow this guy, Mac Boucher, who's the Canadian lefty?
Those slingers.
We thought it was Boucher, and it's Boucher. He was like everybody. I know you would think he's Canadian. Dude, he is like my favorite person in golf now. He plays lightning fast. Every shot he hits, no joke, even when he's playing, he plays ridiculous shots. Like, that's all he cares about. He was teeing the ball like this high in the air on 74-yard shots and trying to draw it like 45 yards. It was just,
he slings it. He's a lefty, and his new content that he's trying to come up with is he's trying to become a scratch golfer right-handed. And you have to see his swing. It's insane.
Yeah,
I think he's close enough to start a series. Like, I think he might achieve
I remember like that's a thing, and it always impresses the hell out of me. I remember a couple of years ago there was that clip of Brooks that came out of him swinging lefty. Remember, and he hit it like 280. I remember Vijay Singh tried to be a amateur golfer left-handed. He tried to get his amateur status just to play left-handed in tournaments, and they said no. So that always impresses the crap out of me when guys are able to do that.
Dude, that kid was with us, and he is just awesome. Incredible attitude, Canadian dude, like everything you would kind of think of. So we're going to do some stuff with him because he's just fun to be around. He's fun to watch play golf. Super nice. And then just the whole TaylorMade crew, man. All the Trotty, who we love. We got to have him on the show next week. We're down there. Barbuti, our guy, and then all the people kind of behind the scenes that run the show there. Tony Starks, who was kind of the one that initiated the entire thing and put the main event together, giving some pretty like awesome speeches about how golf, people that are obsessed with golf, how important it is to their life, and getting other people, especially kids, involved in that, how important it is. So incredible event. It was just a pure boondoggle. I mean, we played 100 holes at the Hay par 3 course on Monday, and the last 2 hours of it at one point with Chad Mumm, who Dan knows incredibly well. We all kind of know him pretty well at this point, but amazing storyteller. He was pretty much the entire last show, but he and I were having just a $50 game. We just kept each 9-hole spin, $50. I ended up cleaning him out pretty good because I caught fire, which I can't wait to, next time just have him speak about whenever he's on a public forum. But at one point with like 2 hours left and like 3 or 4 more spins we had to go, it was like entering the golden hour, and he just turned around and like just gave me like a dap up high five and was like, I think this is the coolest thing in the world. And then like we started attracting these guys from Malbon who were out there, and that one guy at one point, like we had just met him and he had a shot, just a horrible shot, like he missed the green, like spun off, and he turned around and just goes, it doesn't matter. This might be the coolest thing anyone's ever done. Like it was just perfect weather. You're out there. So a ton of fun, just kind of reinforced to me that little par 3 courses are basically all you need. Put the drivers away, get out wedges, hang out. But yeah, TaylorMade, Youth on Course, Pebble Beach, awesome time hosting us. And it was delightful.
I mean, it's coming from a guy who cannot hit his driver right now to say that the best form of golf is to put the drivers away and just hit your wedges and putters.
You beat me at the cradle too.
Well, he's so a great wedge and putter. He's like a fantastic putter, but you can't. If you get to play the game of golf without your driver, it's super fun.
Dude, just hitting wedges off mats and being able to like putt it, I'm like unstoppable.
That's the future, baby.
This is in that direction.
Let's just
clear
do that, you know?
Now all these meetings we're having about like the future of Fore Play golf and what we want to do. Maybe some golf courses are included. It's very funny that we've never included one par 5 in any of the discussions.
I can't play a par 5 to save my fucking life. If we next week, like they're gonna hand me this new driver at TaylorMade, and they'll be like, "Yeah, let's see what you think," and I'm just gonna hit it off the planet. I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, it's it's a driver." I don't know.
We've expressed that, and so we're going to TaylorMade next year. We've expressed this each year. We do a video at TaylorMade Media Day. They show us the new stuff. We get super excited about it because we do love all the equipment. We're turning into guys that know a little bit about like equipment drops and releases because we're a part of this equipment company now. And there's always a funny underlying problem with that video where it's like, we're going to show you all the things that like we changed and like what it's going to do to your swing and the ball flight. And like, maybe it's going to be a different spin, or maybe this, like the Stealth 2 was going to take all the moisture out. So you're going to notice different numbers in the morning, like than you would with another driver because of the dew. And we're hitting balls. Like I was hozzling balls with my driver. I mean, I was hitting them off the toe and off of legit like the heel of the driver. I never hit the center of the club face once, and I'm like, yeah, it's great. This thing's awesome. Like it's so much better than the Stealth. Like I'm turning back to Trotty, being like, this thing's incredible, way better than last year. Even though like I have no idea to hit the golf ball, but I'm hoping this year I am striking the ball way better. I was texting our guys like Brendan. I was saying like I'm more excited about this TaylorMade Media Day than any other one because I feel like when I get the new equipment, I'm gonna actually see new results because I'm actually hitting the ball the best I've ever hit in my life. So that's going to be, I can't wait to get fit. It's actually going to be legit.
You got to be excited because
I got to get out of the 790s. This is the year I get out of the 790s.
Yeah,
I got to go to 770s.
Those are nukes.
I got to get out of I got to go to the 770s. This is my big boy year. 2024 is the year of the 770s for me, or whatever they end up coming out with.
I think you're more than ready for the graduation. I also have been practicing a little bit. I live right next to a golf course now, so all those excuses, I live in the city, all this stuff, it's over. It's a new era. Living in warm weather and living where it's not 90 minutes each way to get to the golf course. It turns out a lot better for your golf game.
It is.
My thing too for a while now has just been, I can do it on the driving range, man. And I feel pretty goddamn good. And I'm kind of striping it. And then I'll just go to the first tee. It's the Kevin Kisner. And I just stand there and I just say in my head, right as I get over the ball, I go, there's just no way. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have done this 50 times in the last year on camera, and it goes horribly every time. And then the club's like already halfway back, and then I'm like, oh fuck, and then just 80 yards right high, goes like 211 yards in the air, and then the rest of the round you're just like, oh fuck, we lost it. So
I'll give him a plug because he just sent me the book. I don't know if he sent you guys, but Dr. Brett McCabe has that book, Kick Anxiety's Ass, and it's all about anxiety like within the sport. And I think that's exactly what happens. You have like first tee jitter anxiety, and like there's all these chapters devoted to like you're more nervous about the outcome before you essentially start it. And that's just like a recipe for disaster. Like stop worrying about the outcome,
Big time. I'm so worried about the outcome. I'm worried about the outcome sitting here right now thinking about the next time I have to hit a drive.
I've said that. I said that to someone, I think. So we have this series coming out from Casa de Campo, and I think on one of the cameras, I was like, I turned to whoever's to my right. I think it was Francis. I'm like, we were just on the range with him, and he was hitting the ball way better like 2 minutes ago. And then it's like if I'm playing a match against Riggs, I'm on the range and I'm like pretty confident and I'm like, oh shit, this guy's striping the ball right now. Like this is his day. And then you get to the first tee and you just see you're a totally different person.
But
which
you're
is
also
insane.
You're also jaded about it now because I remember we were on the driving range, which was the hottest fucking place in the world in Dominican, if you remember that.
Yes.
And we're all kind of like schwitzing and just, everyone wants to get the round going. And Riggs is hitting driver after driver down the middle. I'm like, looks way better. You're like, it's going to suck on the course.
Yeah.
You didn't even let me tell you that like you're hitting it nice. You're like, it doesn't matter, Dan. Doesn't matter.
And let me tell you, it's infuriating. I mean,
Yes.
There's been a couple times I've said to even Bush and like John, be like, I need a month off or something from golf. Like this just fucking sucks. Because I practice. I said to my buddies, like I did like a month ago or so, we did like a little reunion with a bunch of my college roommates. We hadn't seen each other in forever. Like, how's your golf game? And I was like, dude, I play golf like 11 days a week. I got the best equipment on the planet. I go to the range when I'm home like 2 or 3 days of the week, and I'm fucking horrible. Like I cannot hit the golf ball. I don't have any idea what it is. And it's the frustrating part is like, I don't know how much more you can do on the range. Like I'll get to a point where I'll be like, all right, you got to hit 10 drives in between those two flags out there. That everyone's not the most perfect drive, but they're all good in play. They probably go 260 or something at least. A couple good ones get up there 270 maybe, like pretty solid. And then the first tee, I get there, man, and it is just a mental nightmare. And I don't go through a routine. I don't take time. I'm like, I just kind of step up and be like, okay, this is going to be the one. You know what to do. And then it just doesn't work out. So I probably need to read a fucking book. I need to figure something out. It's so goddamn infuriating knowing that you can just do it. Like like the first tee at Greyhawk is the one that we played is legitimately 50 yards to the right of the driving range. So it's the same direction. It's the same thing. So you just hit 20 drivers in a row. Pew, pew, solid. You move 50 yards to the right and wait 30 seconds and try it again and just a completely different person. So I got to figure that out. No doubt about it.
It's really tough. It is tough. But we have some great, we got a lot of good videos coming out and we're getting some new equipment. So hopefully that will be the change. Do you guys, before we get into any of the stuff that you want to get into, before I forget, and I know my phone's going to die, so I want to make sure that I didn't charge it last night. Is there anything worse than coming back? I was in the office and my charger was in my backpack and it was downstairs. And I noticed when I was in bed and I was just not going to get up and go get it. And I'm like, I won't regret that tomorrow. Wake up, 19% phone charge. And now I'm just catching up all day. Like you want to sit there on the charger on the couch, or I was watching Barstool Radio and it wasn't near the outlet. And it's just like, I'm fighting it. So it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I have 3% battery. It's insane.
Chances are you probably stink, like physically stink. We have a solution. The answer is Wood. It's a lineup of men's personal grooming products made of all natural ingredients, specially formulated to make you smell like a better man. This stuff's great. I got a wide assortment of this from, you got the beard kind of shampoo. They got conditioner. They got this face wash, and then they've also got the face exfoliation little thing with the graininess in it. Great assortment of products from Wood.
Yeah, my entire shower is filled with Wood products. I made the full transition a couple months ago. And I was, you're
congratulations.
A little bit. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're a little nervous about switching over from stuff if you've used one product for your whole life or your whole adult life or whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden you're in the shower and you see a whole new assortment of them. It's a little bit different because you're at home. Like it's one thing to be in a hotel and you use their stuff and you're like, I'm in a hotel. When you're home, it's your comfort spot. You know that you're getting all the stuff that you're used to. And now the fact that that's all Wood products for me speaks pretty, it speaks volumes to how good it actually is. Cause it's an advertiser. It's Barstool Sports made product. And I genuinely use it every single day now. I use the deodorant. I use all the shampoo, all the body wash, the exfoliating. It's an amazing assortment of stuff. You can get them at CVS, get them online. They're super accessible to be able to replenish them. So I love it. I've been loving it. And the smells are great.
Yeah, I've got all of it as well. I kind of just cycled everything into my shower, 6-8 months ago. The world's best smelling body, hair, face, and beard products make you smell like you give a damn. Check out the natural products aisle at your local Walmart and shop Wood's hair and body assortment today. It's time to smell like a better man.
I want to get into this closest to the pin because it's my week. So we're going to do an early one this week. Is that okay?
I love it.
Sure.
I love it. Let's do it.
Okay. So Alex Bush, now it's your time to approach the desk. Yes, sir. So you're going to go through last week's. This was
That's good.
This was Trent, right? Trent did this or no? Or was this Dan?
No, it was Dan.
I did.
Danny.
It was Dan.
All right. So we'll go through the first one.
Okay. So the first one, total views for the Tiger lip sync video on Instagram by the time we record, which Frankie gave me the number, and Riggs, these are gonna be tough. They're just long ass numbers. Are 1,213,294. Trent,
have you ever read numbers before?
Read numbers, yeah, a couple times.
What's going on here?
Trent, 1,678,906. Frankie, 1,387,008. Dan, 1,453,666, and then I had 1,567,069. The total was 1,348,909, which was Frankie.
I was pretty damn close.
Frankie
was close.
Just over 38K off, and then the other second would have been Dan, 104K.
38K off. Yeah. So I was monitoring it on my Instagram, just seeing it was going. The day that we stopped recording, it went from like 1,100,000 to like 1,300,000 in like one day. And I was like, oh fuck, this thing's gonna hit 3 million. And we're all gonna be way off. And then it just died. So that's just a look into the algorithm.
Yeah.
Like at some point it just stops going into people's feeds. And I'm sure from time to time it might grow over the next year to like 2 million. Because it'll like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but on the For You page on Instagram, you'll see things from 6 months ago, or even in your own, when you're scrolling, you'll think that something was yesterday, and it was like, it'll say from August, it'll say August 13th or something. And you're like, what the fuck? Why is that in my feed? So I'm sure it'll grow, but that's a victory for me. It's good to get on the board.
And then the second one was the total tweets from Dave about the Michigan scandal in the next week, which the day after, I believe, is when Harbaugh got suspended. So
yeah, this shit went off.
It was tough. It was tough because the answers were Riggs 11, Trent 13, Frankie 13, Dan 33, and
Danny
I had
Scoops,
9.
baby. I knew something was up.
It was 42. It wasn't even close. It was a
42.
landslide. So Dan got that one.
He tweeted 42 times about Connor Stallions.
Just about the scandal in general.
Surrounding the scandal or Connor or Harbaugh suspend, things like that. Just anything that has to do with it.
I was sending them all to Bush, and he got so annoyed with me. He's like,
I was like, you're not sending me every single one.
I just want to make sure that you see him. I just want to make sure that you see him.
All right, that's a point for Danny.
All right,
the third one was George Bryan's first round score at the Bermuda Championship.
Oh,
fuck.
Riggs 73,
Jesus.
Trent 67, Frankie 69, Dan 73, myself 69. Frankie and I got that on the number.
Double pointer.
69, 2
it's the first
points on the
from the
board.
kid.
That's huge.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Really,
quick outside.
Really impressive by him. Yeah, and the both brothers making the cut is awesome.
That was cool.
I mean,
that was just heartwarming.
George is the older brother, which I feel like people maybe don't like necessarily know. So Wesley has had success, won on tour. He's 33. George is 35. Been part of this golf family forever, grinding, played amazing in college, never had success as a pro. Finally gets a sponsor invite, really thanks to the YouTube golf world that we obsess about nonstop. And did the furthest thing for making a fool out of himself. 69, 68, made the cut. It brought a ton of social juice to the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I would fully expect Garrett Clark and Grant Horvat to, it brought a lot of attention to an otherwise sleepy week. So success for
But here's the thing I have to say about that is they are, and it's super impressive. And I like their content. I love the collaborations, and everything they're doing. But those guys are professional golfers. They're like aspiring professional golfers that turned into YouTubers, right? That's what they end up doing when they weren't making it from event to event. So like the fact that they are competing on the PGA Tour is incredible, but it's not like you took a kid that like learned how to play golf through YouTube golf. It's not like to me, a Garrett or a Grant would be way more like, holy shit. Like they were never even on that path. You know what I'm saying? And just because they're playing a lot of golf, and like Grant's getting so much better because he's playing so much golf. He has a YouTube page. He played on Good. He like went to college golf, but then like did this full time. He's been doing this since he was like 16, 17 years old. It feels like if that kid made a PGA Tour event, you'd be like, holy shit. His upbringing of golf was YouTube. Like that's like where his path to success began. The Bryan brothers are like legit aspiring professional golfers, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Wesley won the RBC Heritage in 2017.
Right,
so,
yeah,
no,
right.
I mean, Wesley is sort of not in this conversation. I was more talking about George just because he hasn't played in a PGA Tour event. Wesley's
But did George like try and go through like Q school and like was he like
all
on
the
the
time,
Corn Ferry and all that stuff?
He's definitely like better and had been a touring professional for a long time.
Okay.
My point was, yes, it would be much more surprising if Grant or Garrett made a cut. I just think we're going to see more of this like crossover
For sure.
for these events that, the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, no one's really paying attention unless you have, something like this.
And it should be like that. You should start to get these exemptions for guys that are grinding away at the game. They're growing the game. The Bryan brothers are growing the game. Good's growing the game. Grant's growing the game. If you can put them into a tournament like the Bermuda tournament, that is just a win for every single person that's involved. It's a win for the tournament. It's a win for the tour. It's a win for the players. It's a win for YouTube Golf. It's great. I was super excited to see them make the cut because it blew up on Twitter. And they're pretty funny on Twitter, like the way they go back and forth. Like they were like stunned that we were giving them shout outs, and like they were kind of going back and forth with our social account. So they definitely get it too. Like they understand. Like they're completely from like our world of humor.
Yeah, and Wesley Bryan has a grudge against me, which is probably fair.
Was that why?
Yeah. So
one of the responses was weird. I was like, why did he like? It was almost like they were mad. They're like, well, we're getting the shout out
right before the RBC Heritage. I was like. Some throwaway tweet of like, the RBC Heritage has produced some, I think I said out there winners was the word I used. And so it was like Satoshi Kodaira has won there and Brian Gay has won there. And I wrote Wesley Bryan and he hasn't forgotten. And so, yeah, he likes to let me know that I called him an out there winner. So his
response was using some quote unquote out there names to generate clicks is what he wrote.
Yeah. And then his brother was like, calm down, Wesley. Like we're gonna play a match. Like you gotta let it go. And so, and I exchanged a bunch of messages with George this week. It's all in good fun. You got to face the music. In this industry, I do, Colin Coward of golf, you're gonna call people out. It's kind of what Colin Coward does.
We do have when we hired Dan Rapport, we also acquired some of his baggage. Like this guy has been on the tour on the beat. And to a lot of these players, like he might be that like, squirmy little guy that writes bad things about him. Like, and like that's just the fact of the matter. That's the business. And we have to accept the fact that we have that guy on our team now. And we might have some, like we might be anti Brian Bros now because Danny is. I don't even know that. You just told me that. And now are we like going to war with them? Or are we okay?
No, I think we're
okay.
We're
good.
I think we're going to,
because I like the guys. I might have to.
No, I think we're going to use it for content. It's going to be fun. Everyone's on the same page. Gotcha. I deserve it. It's fine. You're going to say that, it's fair on both sides.
All right. I love that. That is good for the video. We have to do a video with them too. I mean,
we will for sure.
Dude, Grant was telling me that George was playing. I guess they had just gotten back from a video series.
Yeah, they did like a major there or something
in Bermuda, right?
Yeah, they went to the golf course.
And Grant said that he's playing the best golf that he's ever seen, like in person. And I remember him saying that to us in the cart. And I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Like for you to say that because this guy's been around some incredible golfers. And then 2 weeks later, he's in the fucking Bermuda Championship and he makes the cut. That's amazing. So the guy's flushing the golf ball, George Bryan.
Yeah, he kind of went. I don't even know if it was on this show, maybe, but Grant was just talking about that like off camera to us, like, oh yeah, he's unbelievable, playing great. And then I said he was going to shoot 74 or whatever the hell I said, and he ends up making the cut. So yeah, we'll probably see more of that. Like you said, is very influential. They're growing the game, and it's nice to see.
All right, so 2 points.
2 points.
I got the fourth one. It's total cards given in the Premier League over the weekend. Riggs 33, Trent 32, Frankie 28, Dan 27. I had 23, and it was 47.
Wow.
Riggs took that one. Yeah.
Come on.
Oh yeah, there was like
there was a couple games that had like seven or eight.
Well, don't get me started.
Just in general.
On soccer referees, the video review in soccer is ruining the
VAR.
game. It's really fucking bad.
Is great. I think the officiating is great. You got to keep them tight out there, protect the players.
Yeah,
wow, that's amazing. That's a lot. Dude, that reminds me. That would be a cool bet, like an actual bet, like how many.
You're just rooting for carnage out there.
Yeah. I was sitting next to Hubs at the office yesterday, and Hubs at Barstool was betting a tennis match, and he was betting he needed over 13 aces it was like 13 and a half aces in a tennis match, and it was like the most electric bet ever. You're just rooting for just incredible serves, and I think in the first game there was 8, so he was like, oh, this is a win. I never ended up seeing if it cashed, but it had to have.
Dude, one year, my buddies and I, before Barstool Sportsbook, we tried to do this on the Sportsbook, but I think it's like a you can't root for negativity thing or something. But we were able to find a number of golf balls in the water on 17 during the Players Championship bet, and we took the over on it, and there was just like a really windy Friday or something, and we were just texting each other going crazy, or like 30 balls in the water or something on Friday. Unbelievable bet. You're watching them land on the back edge, and
So
they try
good.
to check, and then they roll into the water. You're like, yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, so where's the updated standings right now with closest to the pin?
So first place is Dan with 9. Trent is in
Jesus.
second with 8. Riggs in third with 5. Frankie in fourth with 4. And I have 2.
All right. So that leads us into this week. Trent Ryan is not here. He is moving. Our innocent Iowan boy is moving back into the city. I don't know if you guys said that off the top. I can't remember.
Set it
He's
off top.
moving.
But yeah,
Yep,
you
he's
do
moving
get
back.
you benefit by being present on the show more for
That's right.
closest to the pin.
Now, I will say, as an idiot, I'm an idiot. And so when I was writing up these questions, one of the questions that I had is like a 2-month long, 3-month long question. There's
Okay.
no way of getting the answer by the next show. So this might be a running, when it happens, we get the point. You understand? And this
Okay.
is on Alex to like pay attention for the next, I'd say 3 or 4 months.
Also, are we doing giveaways, or are we is this just for fun for the podcast? Like, are we
It's
still
for
doing
everything.
Yeah,
that?
we're giving away golf balls. Rob's been going through and getting the winners.
Sweet. Okay, great.
Each week. Yep.
Amazing. Okay. So I'm going to start off with the long form question. When will the first snowfall in New York City happen?
Wow.
For reference, in 2022, it was February 1st.
What? It didn't snow until February?
That was in
That's
2022. I
late.
didn't even look in 2023. I'm an idiot. It didn't snow until February. Wait, let me make sure I look for 2023 because it's turned 2024. It was February 1st. Oh, that's the one I looked.
I'm a little confused though, because if it rains or if it snows like late 2023, is it the first snow of the season or first snow of the year?
What's the measurable snowfall? Like with the first measurable snowfall? I don't think it's like
2024.
of 2024.
So if it happens December 31st, that doesn't count.
So it could be like
I see
January
what you're saying.
4th.
No, I think you can from here. It has not snowed yet in this
Okay.
winter. When is it
Okay.
going to next snow? When is there going to be a measure? When's the next time it's going to have measurable snow in New York City? Is the best way to ask that question. Okay.
Okay. No problem. I'm sending invisible ink right now.
As well.
Okay. Now, like, are people like? Is there going to be hope for like a white Christmas in New York City? Is that what people are kind of basing this off of? Because let's see. Okay. Oh, you guys already saw it. Okay. So we'll go through all the lists. We'll start with Riggs. January 4th.
Yep. January 4th. I just feel it's going to be a little earlier this year, but not quite Christmas. Sorry.
A white January 6th anniversary.
I thought I was in the early Januaries, and I was like, January 5th, don't say the 6th. Don't say the 6th. So I went 4th.
All right. So Danny Rappaport said December 18th.
That's my birthday. So I just figured
Oh, very nice.
week before Christmas, one can hope.
You got to be kidding me, Alex Bush. Are you fucking kidding me? This guy's out of control. Alex Bush says December 23rd, and I said December 23rd. I had this whole thing that I was going to say it's going to be a fucking magical, wintry Christmas. All these people are going to want to go see the last minute, the December 23rd. They're going to get off school. The kids are going to get off school. It's going to be winter break. Everyone's going to be rushing into the city to go see the tree. And then snow is going to start falling. We need that. We need that camaraderie. We need holiday cheer and spirit and all that stuff in the world right now. And I had this whole entire thing planned, and then fucking Alex Bush put December 23rd. So even if I'm right,
Great minds,
even if I'm correct, I don't even get that satisfaction of being the guy that picked a white Christmas in New York City. Come on.
I got to make it to December 29th. And
you're in a good spot.
Yep, that's a good spot. Come on, baby.
You're in a really good spot.
Get the temperature up out there. Let's get a couple nice days, 55, 60.
All right, next question. What do you think, and we'll have to look at this on the back end, the peak live viewership for the Wyndham Clark Scramble today will be on YouTube? So it's, we're going to premiere it. There's going to be a bunch of people in there to watch it. Sometimes it ranges from 2,000 live to 10,000 live for some of our best breaking 90s. I think we hit 10,000 once. What do we think is going to be the number of the peak? It tells you a number. Like this was the number, the highest peak that it hit. Wyndham Clark YouTube video today on Fore Play YouTube.
I don't know if I want everyone to go there or not yet. Depends on how your guesses come in.
I want to go on record saying the more is the better. It's bigger than me and my guesses.
Damn it, you're right.
Oh my god! I just when I'm doing the questions, I refuse to do the invisible.
You're
ink.
not very good at the invisible ink thing.
I cannot.
I
Wait
usually
for
am.
Brendan Jones to come in and laugh at that again because you're going to be the one.
All right, so we have our questions in. We have Danny Rappaport at 7,500. We've got Riggs.
I'm bullish.
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest. It's reigning U.S. Open champion, top 10 player in the world.
It's a big video.
Yeah.
We've got Riggsy at 5,100. We've got Alex at 5,600. So Riggs is anything below 5,600 will win for Riggs.
Now I'm the guy again rooting for shit.
And I have 7,800. So I kind of, anything higher than Danny should be mine.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a big video. I hope so. I mean, it's a long one. The scrambles are long. So I think after like the 45 minutes go on, I think it accrues so many people that at some point it might hit that 8,000 that view mark.
I hope you guys are right. Unfortunately, I think I was the misogenic guy too with the Lexi Thompson guess a couple weeks back. So that sucks.
Well, depending for the listeners, if you want someone specific to win, you can judge based off of you viewing it. If you want it if you want me to get the points, then you'll just all watch it, and then we'll have 8,000, 9,000 people. Tip the scales. All right. So that's number 2. Number 3. This is a little one. JJ Spawn at the RSM. What do you think he will shoot in his first round at the RSM coming up this week, this Thursday? So tomorrow, we're recording this on Wednesday. I think last time that he had played the first round, he shot 69, which was very nice. Mm-hmm. JJ Spawn, what do we think he will shoot? I don't have any other historical facts about JJ Spawn. I know that he doesn't like me. He told me to go fuck myself, essentially.
I screwed up the invisible ink there.
He told me to go fuck myself at the PGA Championship.
Yep. I remember a little guy here. Just a little. This one's just
this is a small
little bet. Yeah.
When I signed, or when I tweeted that I joined Barstool, he goes, "I wonder if I'll hate him more than I hate Pizza Boy."
And everyone's got it in, and we have the answer. So Riggs with a guess of 69, and Alex Bush with a guess of 69. Danny Rappaport,
you're such a cuck, Bush.
70.
You knew
Frankie
I was going to
Borelli, 67. I think JJ Spawn's going to come out of the gates firing. It said that he finished 10 under in his last tournament. I think he's hitting the ball well. It's it's the winter time. These littler guys want to get the seasons going in the winter while everyone else is kind of going to Netflix Cups and all this stuff. So this is a big tournament, the RSM for JJ Spawn. Yep. I'm going into our final, closest to the pin, Jets versus Bills. This Sunday, Alex Bush, it's the return of the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. How many points will the New York Jets score against the Buffalo Bills?
More than the Bills for sure.
Oh, Bills are 7-point favorites.
Hammering the Jets on that.
Take Jets plus 7. I'm taking it for sure.
Yeah, you have to.
You still blaming that game on the refs or what?
The refs, the OC, Josh being stupid, a lot of different things. Over
the last couple of weeks, the Jets have scored 12 points, 6 points, 13 points, 20 points, 31 points. So, Zach Wilson, touchdowns have been very hard to come by. They are moving the ball down the field, but then they're taking these personal penalties and moving them backwards. Have you watched a Jet game? Has anyone watched a Jet game and how infuriating it is? Zach Wilson's actually doing okay. He's moving the ball down the field
since the opener.
He last game against the Raiders, he moved the ball 70 yards down the field, ran for a 20-yard touchdown, leaped into the end zone, did a flip essentially, and then there was just a holding for no reason by the tight end on the other side of the field that just brought it back 15 yards. We were out of field goal range the whole entire deal. It's a mess in New York right now. Aaron Rodgers claims he's coming back full time with the team by Thanksgiving. He will be practicing. He'll be in the facility. This guy popped his Achilles.
This is insane. This Aaron Rodgers
8 weeks ago, 2 months ago.
He's not supposed to be able to play until next summer.
This is what happens when you blend East and West.
So I've seen a lot of people.
You mix Kobe Bryant and Morgan Hoffman, and you get Aaron Rodgers, and it's fucking beautiful.
He wasn't they weren't truthful about what actually happened at this point, right? There's no way he fully he didn't. Someone said that he has a high ankle sprain. He's fabricating it as a
amazing
pop.
PR. Amazing
but
PR.
There's no way it fully popped. I mean, I just can't. No matter what modern medicine you have, you're comparing it to other peak athletes. You're talking running backs and cornerbacks and the best football basketball players, some of the best athletes in the world, right? and they have to take a year, sometimes a year and a half to like fully recover from this thing. This was 2 months ago. He's going to go play professional football.
It's an experimental surgery.
Everyone else that has had this injury, which is hundreds of top tier athletes, have tried as hard as humanly possible to get back as fast as humanly possible. It's not like they weren't trying. It's not like they didn't try to get creative. It's not like for the last 5 years, we haven't had a lot of modern medicine and techniques and technology. So for him to just be doing it that much faster is fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It makes no sense. It's honestly scary. So yeah, I don't know what to think, but that's what's happening. All right, let's read off these guesses. This is our fourth and final closest to the pin of the week. Danny Rappaport, how many points will the Jets score against the Bills? He said 13. Riggs says that the Jets will score 10 points. Alex Bush says that the Jets will score 17, and I have 21. So we all think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game, but I'm shooting for the stars. I think we're going to get into the end zone one way or another. The Bills stink. The Bills do stink, but so do the Jets. So we'll see. Alex, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bills do stink. It's tough. And Tage Thompson's out for a while. The Buffalo Sports are just down bad.
Yeah, so
brutal.
You sound very sad.
You sound
I'm very
so sad. Just sad.
Very sad. I've come to the point where I'm done defending them.
You got to be like pretty happy about T Swizzle and the Travis Kelce stuff, though.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. But it's awesome. She's in love. You know, it's great to see.
Love to see mother flourishing like that.
I saw Kelly Keegs in the office, and she's like our resident, just Taylor Swift, pop culture. She's like just in the office. She's just like a ray of energy when it comes to something like this Taylor Swift ordeal. And I loved picking her brain about what her last like 2 months have been like. And she's just, it's like us with Tiger. Like she's just like, I can't get away from it. It's like every night there's a new story, and like it's just taken over my life. She can't go out to dinner. She can't go to get drinks on the weekend because Taylor Swift's doing something that she needs. I asked her, how does it feel? There's only a certain amount of people in the world on the internet that when you're attached to something, like I'll immediately go and search your name on Twitter to see what you've said about it. So like Dave Portnoy is one of those people. If something happens in the world that I think is even closely related to Dave, I want to know exactly what he said, and I'm refreshing his Twitter until he says it. When Taylor Swift, when something pops off, I go to Kelly Keegs' Twitter and I do the scroll and I just wait until one of her new tweets comes out. And that's a lot of pressure. For us, when Tiger Woods announces he's playing in a tournament, people are going to Riggs Barstool's Twitter and Danny Rappaport and being like, what do these guys have to say about this guy coming back into it to play on the PGA Tour? So yeah, it's like there's pressure there. And for Tiger, it feels like it happens like once in a while. Taylor Swift is making news every single day. It's news when she hugs him.
Restaurant. If she walks out of a restaurant, it is headline global.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're analyzing every person that she's with and where they're standing, and it's every single one.
There's a video of her running to Travis Kelce, and I saw a fan account that used AI to take all the voices that you heard in the video to see if she screamed Trav when she was running to him, because you hear a bunch of people screaming his name, and like there's these AI machines that will be able to like isolate all of the different audio that comes through a video, and they will put it into tracks. And actually musicians and all of these recording artists are using that to restore old music now. And someone used that for the Taylor Swift video. It's nuts.
That's incredible. That is honestly incredible. Yeah, people are into it. People are into Taylor Swift. I'm a big Taylor. I love Taylor Swift.
Did you guys see the Beatles release a new song?
Yeah.
How cool is that? An actual new song.
How? AI or?
So real quick, the Beatles had broken up, and John Lennon was no longer making music, but he was still at home with Yoko Ono and his son, and he was at home in New York City and making music and just playing into cassette tapes and like kind of just recording stuff. And over the years, after he had passed away, after he got murdered, they were looking through all of his stuff and they saw this cassette tape of this song, and they had given it to Paul McCartney and George Harrison and Ringo Starr. And in the 70s, they tried to play with it because it was a great song. And I'm trying to think of even what the name of the song is because I can't do this fucking. Oh, wait, my phone's going to die, but I have to look it up. I think it's There and Now. Anyway, so in the 70s, Now and Then. In the 70s, they tried to play with it. And every time that they got all together, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, and Paul McCartney, they just couldn't like play it along to it because the piano and his voice, the way that John Lennon had recorded it, if you tried to raise his voice in certain parts, the piano would go up with it because the technology wasn't there. And then in the 90s, they tried to do it again, and it just wasn't there. Like, they felt like it wasn't a Beatles record. Like, they couldn't do it. Then George Harrison passes away. They end up just giving up on it. It's just like, that's just a song that's never going to be done. Well, they do this Get Back documentary for Disney, and they come up with this new technology where you're able to isolate with AI all of the different tracks. So now AI is going in and taking John Lennon's voice and putting it on its own track, and taking the piano, putting it on its own track, and kind of meshing it so that you can lower the piano in spots and bring it up. So now Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, they're fucking 82 and 80 years old. They get into the recording studio. They have all the clips of George Harrison playing his guitar part that he wanted to in the 90s and the 70s, and they put it all together. Paul McCartney plays the bass, and he adds some percussion, and then Ringo Starr lays his drum track down. And what do you have in the year 2023? A brand new Beatles song. I'm talking an official on their Spotify, in their fucking album. You know, this is a real deal Beatles release in 2023. That's fucking cool, man.
It's amazing the impact that AI technology can have and is already having in the music industry. I remember, like, my favorite song of this year was not even a real song. It was that Drake and The Weeknd song. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
X Like Selena. I don't think it's what Heart on My Sleeve it's called. Like, that was the best song of the year. It's not even a real song.
See, that part like scares me a little bit, because music still needs to come from the soul, and it still needs to come from the fingertips and your brain and just riffing and coming up with ideas. If we're just going to tell a computer, hey, generate the most catchy melody and have this guy's voice blend with this guy's voice, and then we're just going to make a very hit song, it's just going to become we're essentially just getting we're getting algorithm to death, where it's like they know what we like, and they're going to spoon feed us stuff that we're going to automatically like. We're not even going to learn to like new things. There's going to be no creativity. So that part I do not like. But for restoring and historical shit, I thought that was a really cool way of using it. You know, like if Blink-182 just comes out with like an AI album where it's like, oh, it sounds like us. Like, we don't even have to fucking play music. I would be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, it's fascinating because like they can't really stop people from doing it. So they're going to have to legislate it, basically. Like, you know,
it's also like people can just, or anyone, AI can just do it instantly almost. Right. Like, it's not like it takes time. AI can just create 10,000 songs in fucking 2 minutes. It's not that big a deal.
I had the idea for pop punk. I was sitting around my computer and I'm like, why don't I just go on one of these AI engines and say, like, create me a pop punk song, and like I'll just listen to it and see if I like it. And then you can like kind of take ideas from that and play it and act like it's your own. I mean, why not? What's the difference between that thing coming up with it in your brain? But that's where I think if that happens for decades and decades and generations, you lose creativity. You know what I'm saying? You lose your brain.
It's a problem. It's scary.
We're going to evolve into having no brains.
I'm trying to think. Moving on, right?
That's all I got. That's all I've got.
Spotify issue. So real quick, this is a little administrative thing. There's a big issue with Spotify and uploading podcasts. So I was told by Alex Bush to just let everybody know that issue solved, Bush. So this, in theory, this show, when it's published everywhere, should just be fine and go up on Spotify.
I hope so. Basically, when I uploaded it, it went everywhere except Spotify. And we reached out, and I guess this happened to PMT with their episode today too. It's live now, so hopefully when this one is uploaded, we don't have an issue. But if that is, it's kind of just on their end and pretty much bringing it in and publishing it. So
okay, so hopefully it's up on Spotify. But if you couldn't find it, the last show is up. It exists. We did a Tuesday show, so if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. Chad Mumm, the Netflix creator, and the whole deal. It's a fantastic show. He's a great storyteller, and he's been as immersed in the golf world as anybody possibly can be behind the scenes for the last, not just year and a half, but the last several years trying to get this thing going. And Dan knows him very well. So make sure you tune in and listen to that bad boy. Rory McIlroy. Quite a bit of news from Rory. Over the weekend, he did an interview that came out, I believe, with The Independent. Is that who it was that he always goes to?
Yeah, so he does this year-end interview with the Irish Independent, this guy Paul Kimmage, who is an Irish journalist. He does it every year. This year he did it joint with Shane Lowry. It's always really good. He trusts this guy, and it's at the end of the year he kind of gets Rory like off the cuff. And asked him about Hackgate, and he kind of lit up Cantlay. I've been hearing this for a little while, that Rory and Cantlay really do not get along, and it's like kind of a problem. And I think that maybe the news today, or I guess yesterday or whatever, came out that Rory's stepping down from the pack board. It's possible Cantlay's on that board. It's possible that that's one of the reasons why. Obviously, he wants to spend more time with his family. He wasn't even in the room when they made the deal. But why would he continue to pour energy and time into something if he's not actually going to have an impact when it comes to deal making? But I wouldn't underestimate the impact of just not wanting to deal with Cantlay. Those two guys are not boys.
One of my favorite lines from this whole thing was Rory talking about Joe LaCava, and he said he used to be a nice guy when he caddied for Tiger Woods, and he said now caddying for that dick he's turned into, which is just a fantastic line, essentially saying that Patrick Cantlay is a dick, and Joe LaCava, no blame whatsoever to Joe LaCava. You caddy for your guy, you go to war for your guy. That's what you do. We love Joey. We're great friends with Joey, and he's doing what he's doing. He's carrying the bag for Patrick Cantlay. He's his guy inside the ropes. Patrick Cantlay is, whether you hate him or whether you love him, which I don't know that many people love him, he's one of the top players in the world. He's making more and more money than you can imagine. And Joe LaCava's got a bag. He's in the Ryder Cup. He's ride or die with his guy. So he's doing the best that he can. But yeah, Rory did not mince words, calling Patrick Cantlay kind of a dick. I feel like Patrick Cantlay right around now, I mean, he was very much Patrick Reed-esque, where he's a very unlikable guy in a lot of ways. With the coming out where they were him and Xander were potentially going to hold out for money, and all kinds of stuff, money related with Cantlay and the slow play, and then yet he kind of like kept the Ryder Cup alive on Saturday night during Hackgate by going crazy making putts. So you're like, well, that's our fucking guy. We're Team USA, the whole deal. So kind of an interesting spot emotionally with Patrick Cantlay, but I think the more and more we get distance from the Ryder Cup, it's just hard. He's just a hard guy to be like, I fucking love that guy. It's like, I don't know that anybody feels that way.
Yeah, it is a tricky one. Winning solves everything. And I think that was a great example at the Ryder Cup, was like when he's on your side and he's winning. I remember a couple years ago when he won the FedEx Cup, he was like patty ice and people were kind of coming around on him.
Mm-hmm.
I've also, a little peek behind the curtain, I've tried to get him on this channel in so many different ways. And he doesn't want to do it, which is obviously fine. And that's his right. But when you don't address things head on, or you don't give people a chance to get to know sort of the real you, then, people are going to run away with their own sort of narratives. And I think that's kind of what happened, is there's all this negative talk, and I don't know if he's not aware of it or he just doesn't feel any sort of desire to kind of write the record or set the record straight. But when you continue to be silent, then it's not in your control.
Yeah. I DM'd him a few months ago and he left me on red.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yep. Yeah. I DM'd him. Strong week, man. Would love to have you on the show soon if you're down, with a fist pump emoji.
Yeah.
And
nice. Boys.
Read it and nothing. So
damn.
Unlucky. Unfortunate. And so, yeah, I don't know that you'll be seeing him on this show anytime soon, but yeah, then Rory stepping down, like you said, from the pack board. Just Rory's always an interesting cat. The fact that he was a year ago, I'm going back because of hanging out with Chad all week. Like, I've been going back and I was rewatching some of the Full Swing on my flight and last night, and Rory being in there, and like how different things were a year ago from when Rory was just the guy. He's carrying the torch. He was the PGA Tour's prince, and now he's like called himself a sacrificial lamb. He's out on the pack board. He really refuses to kind of answer questions related to LIV for the most part, or at least compared to where he was. So yeah, Rory's always interesting, and that's kind of the latest with him.
I don't understand why any player, and I actually re-listened to your interview with Kiz from a couple months ago, preparing for this show, because
nice.
he talked about being on the pack for so long, and it's a lot of work. Like, you're in meetings and stuff, and you're also taking calls. You're the player representative. So any PGA Tour player who has an issue, and these guys have issues with a lot of things, that filters through you. And he was like, I don't know. Charlie Hoffman's been doing it for 7 years. I don't know how he does it. Kids was basically saying, like, we don't really have power at the end of the day. And so they asked John Rahm today. They were saying, would you consider taking that spot from Rory on the board? He's like, absolutely not. Why? These guys are already traveling so much. They have families. They want to chase the greatness and become one of the best players in the world. Why would you volunteer yourself to sit in Zoom meetings? It's one thing if you feel like you're going to actually have an impact, but if it's just going to be Jimmy Dunn and Ed Hurley making the deal, then what's the point? What is the point of putting the effort in?
No, I think that's right. I think, yeah, those guys got to be frustrated. I would say they got to be discouraged at this point. And yeah, they do, especially during COVID. I remember talking to kids, like, it's like they would do 4 or 5 hour long Zoom calls and whatnot every day, trying to discuss the schedule, when they're going to return, and COVID policies and mask policies and testing policies, all this stuff. And at the end of the day, it's just kind of the tour's call, it seems, especially with the information and when they just dropped out of the clouds, the fact that they're doing the PIF merger. So yeah, I get it. It is what it is. Rory's out. Tiger's on it, which is nice. We like Tiger Woods. Camilo Villegas, W. Amazing story, heartwarming, heart-wrenching story. Tragedy within their family. How long ago was that, Dan? A few years ago?
It was 2020. It was during the pandemic.
Okay. They lost their daughter, I believe. Is that right?
20-month-old Mia.
20-month-old Mia. And Camilo, the first PGA Tour tournament that I can remember going to in St. Louis was like the 2011 or something BMW, or maybe 8 or 9. I can't remember. But when Camilo won, I think he ended up winning a couple FedEx Cup tournaments like that.
2008,
year.
he went back to back. He won that and then the Tour Championship.
2008, I think the BMW was at Belle Reve, and went and saw it was like one of maybe the second PGA Tour event I'd ever been to, and he ended up getting the W. So it was like cool. I was like, this guy's our guy. That was so fucking long ago to think about how long ago that was, and he was like the young guy, and he was doing the whole thing with Spider-Man when he lays on the green and reads putts, and he was Camilo, and then he kind of he for the most part, relatively speaking, disappeared. Went through family tragedy, almost won a week and a half ago, and then comes out and wins. So amazing story. Bermuda out there. We talked about the Bryan Bros and Camilo coming through. So even on a kind of an off week, we don't necessarily go crazy for off week PGA Tour events, but this one kind of brought a couple really good stories. And I saw everybody, Justin Thomas, everybody was kind of weighing in on clearly one of the good guys that they all like and support and root for. So when one of the good guys wins, it's fantastic. So congratulations to him.
Camilo was at the NV5 in Chicago when we did that broadcast.
That's right.
He was playing.
That's
wasn't
right.
he? Yeah.
We were, I was in a golf cart getting sent out to whatever hole we were going to, and I saw a guy on the green, like kind of like reading the green. I was like, that guy kind of looks like Camilo Villegas. And it was.
It's a little flair you put in there. I like that.
Yeah, but like it was him. And I said to Trent, I was like, why are we not highlighting that guy?
Yeah.
Like this guy's insane. Like it's like you said, this guy's a legit mainstay on the PGA Tour. He's a big name. He had a very unique brand at the time. I remember like when I was first learning how to play golf, it was like you kind of got down in like the Jaguar stance, and you're like, I'm gonna read the shit out of this green like Camilo.
Yeah, he had a brand. He is a brand. So
yeah.
I forgot that he was there, man. He was just playing in a Corn Ferry Tour event fucking July.
He didn't have any like before last week. He was going to have to go to second stage of Q School because he just didn't really have any status. So he finished second, which got him a lot of points, and then winning. He's good for 2 years or whatever it is now. So
yeah.
Congrats to him. Awesome. Hopefully, kind of returns to one of the top spots in the game. By all accounts, fantastic guy. Did you guys see the story about Phil Mickelson taking this Mark Baldwin character underneath his wing for a couple days and like gearing him up for second stage Corn Ferry Tour? It was Monday Q tweeted this out that Mark Baldwin has done a lot of stuff with, I think, the Fire Pit Collective guys and Machinella and them, and sort of like a guy trying to make it in the Corn Ferry Tour area, Alistair kind of area and whatever, trying to make it. He made it through first stage and gearing up for second stage, best I can tell. And he like DM'd Phil Mickelson, I don't know how recently, but basically just out of the clouds, kind of being like, I'd love to pick your brain or whatever on like gearing up for trying to make it, whatever. And I guess Phil responded several hours later, and they ended up over the weekend, Phil was like, come out to San Diego. We can play either at this club or this club. We're going to do a money game that'll get you geared up. And if you'd like to do like 9 holes, we can, although we might just do 9. And then I'd like to do a chipping game lesson with you. And he spent like 2 full days with this Mark Baldwin guy doing money games and gearing up. And Monday Q tweeted all this stuff out and was like, I didn't know. I guess this was several weeks ago or something. He's like, I didn't know. I didn't want to blow up Phil's spot, but I finally got permission to do so. Like, you could say whatever you want about Phil, but just an unbelievably selfless move for someone to reach out, Phil, to be like, yep, absolutely, let's do it. And by all accounts, Mark said that the experience was just like off the charts, as amazing as you possibly consider it, and that Phil was so cool and helpful. And Monday Q tweeted out like a couple videos, I think, from their round together of Phil out there hitting and helping him with short game stuff. So just a little bit of a positive PR for Mr. Mickelson.
Yeah, Mark Baldwin's a talented guy. He wrote the story about Will Wilcox a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
Go watch that video, by the way. Speaking of the algorithm, it's done better the last 2 days than the first 2 days, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and it's like not suitable for ads anymore. You saw it got copyright.
Well, it got dinged, but then they changed the name. So I think it's good again. I don't know. Brendan will know. But this is part of the Phil Mickelson story. And I think it's one of the things, I know you read the book Riggs as well, Alan's book, Phil, is for all of the negative stuff you hear about Phil, there are these stories where he has really changed the lives of like a lot of people. And it adds to the intrigue of, someone who the last few years have made him out to be a villain. In reality, there are a lot of these stories where he's paid for someone's college, or he's done this, or he's showed up unannounced to this. So nice. I think Phil is still at his heart, despite being a kind of a shit stirrer the last couple of years. He's a golf guy, and I think he enjoyed getting to sort of view the purity of the grind and the chase, because he's been in a very, very different world for the last couple of years.
It's cool. Mark tweeted out, I'm kind of going back through and trying to get all the facts straight now, but he tweeted out, when I showed up Phil Mickelson's house yesterday morning, he had a coffee in hand for me. He said he knew how crucial second stage is and what it meant for my career. Phil made my game the center of attention from 8 a.m. until dark. It was such an education, so much fun, and profoundly generous. So, I mean, that's just cool. That's just awesome. So good on Phil. Still kind of a white whale. We've had some communication with Mr. Mickelson. We'd really like to have him on the show. So if you're listening, Phil, a little positive PR, you deserve it. Maybe you get a little bit more positive
Scratch
PR.
your back.
Come on this show. Totally. We are just North Korean media when people come on this show. We'll say anything. We'll be positive about you. Tell stories. It'd be fantastic. So good on Phil Mickelson. And then the biggest story of the day is Fore Play Tracker. I think Fore Play Tracker resigned from... So resigned from the Fore Play Tracker community officially, and then is trying to get some sort of letter of approval, I think, from me, that I wasn't really quite sure. Have you guys been following this Fore Play Tracker situation?
He tweeted a couple times. So basically, Twitter took away his account, and they said that it was a parody account, and that he was like using someone else's identity to whatever benefit or use social media. I guess Twitter and Instagram is starting to crack down on these, which is good. Not him specifically. I think he got caught in the crosshairs in the fire. He doesn't deserve it. He was doing a great job tweeting out all our stuff. I mean, he's our biggest hype man. So I think his name's like Michael Behos. I think I've seen. I think that might be his name.
Like
Michael
Behos.
I think if that's not his name, then some random guy in my DMs just got a crazy shout out. It's just like, when you can like see a name, in your requested. I see that. I think that could be it.
That's his name.
That's his name. Okay.
Wow, we just doxed Fore Play Tracker?
Oh shit. Well, no, I think that's his.
He has FPT in his name on Twitter.
Okay. He's been tweeting at us with his real name.
He's been tweeting
right?
from his account he just made, I think.
All right. So yeah, that's him. He's done a great job. I don't know why Twitter took that away, but it's unfortunate. I think it had a decent amount of followers, and I don't know. He used to promote our stuff more than we did.
He was great at it. He was a little bit like our boy from Barstool Radio, who why am I blanking on who would basically track everything Barstool Radio? Deke Zucker.
Oh,
it was
Deke Zucker, yeah,
kind of the Deke Zucker of Fore Play, where he would just comb through everything, and from an outsider's point of view, was almost like better than we were at pointing out like what's going on and the headlines.
Deke Zucker was the OG, amazing. There's a new guy that does it this day in Barstool history. He's amazing. I think we've actually met him in person before. Super nice guy. Tweets out every single clip that is relevant for that day. Like 4 years ago today, the Fore Play guys were here and they did that. Or like 3 months ago on this day when you said this, Dave said this, and he has the videos and the blogs. And yeah, it's amazing that, sometimes you take a step back and realize that this is people's favorite thing. And you're going to find a lot of people that are like obsessed with it or want to be involved in the world. Just like we were. We wanted to be involved in the Barstool world, and fucking Absolutely. 8 years later, boom. So I'm just sitting in a room with a bunch of shit around me now. It's just like, it just happens kind of.
What happened?
It just kind of happens. Oh, I talked about this on Barstool Radio the other day, in which we can get into, where I kind of like almost ruined the whole brand of Fore Play just by saying one thing. But they asked me if I even remember, or like what did the first 6 years, like when it was with just Dave, like even feel like? And I say I feel like I got Men in Black like bleeped, like wiped, because it doesn't even feel like I remember a single thing. Like I remember it, but there's no way I remember the feelings and like actually going to those places. I remember them through phone memories.
Do you ever feel like you remember it from third person, not from first person? That's kind of how I remember. I remember almost like I was like a camera in a movie that watched myself experience it, but I didn't experience it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I guess I remember it through the camera lens that I was always filming. Like every memory I have, I remember like Dave walking out of pizza places or Dave getting dragged out of the football, like the Super Bowl. I don't remember like what I was doing or what I was wearing or you know what I mean? I don't remember any of that. Where my life was at that point. I don't know anything. Nothing.
See, it's
zero.
Like my first ever interaction with Tiger Woods from Shadow Creek, I remember it from the camera's point of view and the picture that was taken. I don't remember my own eyes like looking at Tiger Woods. I have none of that. Like that just
first two times we met him, I didn't really I guess no. We met him for the first time in Pebble Beach, and then when did we see him?
And then probably the next time would have been.
Oh, it was
Southern Hills.
No. It was in Australia. We like.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So those two times I don't remember. I remember Southern Hills because I remember when we walked out to the fairway and Joey LaCava called us out to the fairway. I remember saying to myself, "Stare him in the eyes and remember this." I remember saying that to myself. Stare him in the eyes because I'm not good at eye contact when I get nervous and confrontation. I'll look down, I'll look around. I stared him in the eyeballs. He was sweating like he was sweating like you've never seen. It was I've never seen. He was sweating like he was in a fucking sauna.
Yeah,
he sweats like a mother.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's like him and Aroldis Chapman are the two biggest sweaters I've ever seen.
I think he sweats more than Aroldis Chapman. I swear to God.
Aroldis would come into games in October with his hat dripping. It was 38 degrees.
Tiger was actually like it was like someone dumped a bucket of water on his head and that it was dripping off of him. I've never seen sweat drip off somebody's face. And he's trying to have a conversation with us. It's like you're looking at this guy like, why are you sweating so much? Crazy.
Tis the season of giving. Get the perfect gift for a special someone, yourself, or both. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades and quick swap snow goggles that won't break the bank. Well, snow goggle action. I'm gonna have to get a pair of these.
I said this on the last show when I was doing the ad reads. I think we were in Arizona when I was doing them with Trent. I said there's nothing cooler than having those snow goggles on. You just feel like $1 million. You feel like a robot. You're walking around, people see you, you're all cool. Maybe you got some baggy clothes on, but the fact that Shady Rays has these snow goggles, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the whole look.
Me too. I've been rocking. I get asked a lot from the videos, what are you rocking in those videos? Because I'm a big sunglasses guy, sunscreen, sunglasses, just like to protect myself from the sun in general. Shady Rays. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered. Like I said, premium polarized shades, quick swap snow goggles. It's an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've ever worn. Durable frames, world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. With an extensive array of styles and colors, you're bound to find the perfect pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. They're polarized, great for the golf course. Sometimes you put shades on a course and it darkens things or it messes with your depth perception, whatever. Shady Rays make it better, clearer, the whole deal. Protect your eyes. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out a very merry deal for the season. Go to shadyrays.com, use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, for 50% off 2 or more pair of polarized sunglasses. So try for yourself. These shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. All you got to do, go to shadyrays.com, use the code FORE, and you're going to get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Yeah, we were kind of in the crosshairs a little bit the last couple days. Frankie was on Barstool Radio. I was on Barstool Radio today. Got into it with the Bussin with the boys quite a bit. Will Compton took me to his pantry last night after I fired off a pretty snippy tweet at him and then went on Barstool Radio today. And for about 40 minutes, we kind of hashed it out. And for the last year or so, we've been kind of finding ourselves in this position a few different times. And we're no stranger to a good fight at Barstool Sports. We've been doing this forever. I think I said on radio today that like between just myself, Frankie, and Trent, we probably have over 30 years of Barstool experience. And the first 5 of them were in just the content pen where we were in the trenches every day that you walked in off that goddamn elevator. Your head was on a swivel. I compared it to the Sopranos finale where it's like every door you walk through, every time you come out of the bathroom, every time you walk into a radio studio, your ass is on the jackpot. And it was like, that was just what it was. You kind of fended for yourself, but all together as a team. It was very similar to when you watch Hard Knocks and like guys run each other over and want to kill each other, but It's to make themselves better and the team better. That was sort of the Barstool mentality. And over the last 3 or 4 years, we have sort of siphoned off into like our own lanes, our own franchises. We're Fore Play. We do what we do. And there's Part My Take, and there's Chicks in the Office, and there's Bussin, and there's all these great franchises and chicklets that but they kind of stay in their own lane for the most part. People haven't like spun around each other's orbits and twisted into each other and weaved in and out as much as they used to. That's coming back a little bit more with Dave in the office, the Chicago office, and the New York office. But long story short, the Bussin guys had reached out in like April, I think it was, about they were going to release some golf merch. And they will put me on a text with him and Taylor and basically said, we kind of got this idea of we're going to sort of act like we were the first guys and the only guys to ever create golf content, golf merch. We could get chirps going back and forth online. We'd love for you guys to like get involved in that. Like let us know. And I sent probably a little bit more of a dickish response than I probably should have, but I basically said, we're not really in contriving stuff. I think I said we're like more brick by brick than shtick by shtick, which is a long like Dave comment from years and years and years ago. And that like I'm not going to really contrive stuff. And ultimately, he kind of responded at the time, was like, totally understand, all good, like not a big deal. Taylor kind of thumbs up it, which was kind of funny. And I understood at the time, and that was it. Well, then, Frankie, you were on Barstool Radio yesterday. And again, there's been a million different brands that put out golf stuff. It's Caleb Bresley was doing a golf podcast and putting out kind of breaking 100 stuff around the same time that Trent was. We got the Chicklets guys who do the sandbagger stuff and sell a lot of golf merch. And then we've got Scumbag Golf pops up, and we just got a lot of different stuff. PMTs did a breaking 100 of it, and there's just been a lot of golf stuff. And I don't think it's crazy from our vantage point to be like, we worked our dicks off to kind of carve out this lane. This is what we do. We run all the golf stuff. And yeah, we would probably prefer it if all golf stuff or most golf stuff was like going through or was with us. And all of that going on combined with these guys coming out with their own golf merchandise and with an idea that I just didn't really want to be involved in. It was just kind of a no from me. It wasn't about, I don't want to collaborate. It was like, I just really don't like that idea. Will then put out a video last night, essentially being like, I thought it was like for the team. I think like everybody should be collaborating, not like trying to block people out and all that. And so end of the day, we hashed it out for like 40 minutes in Barstool Radio. I thought it went incredibly well. I think we're probably going to collaborate and work with the Bussin guys. By all accounts, they seem like very nice guys, but we kind of got in the muck the last couple of days.
Yeah. I kind of threw you into the fire, for being honest. I was on radio just kind of talking about whatever. I was talking about how I can't shit anymore, and that I was in the bathroom at 1:30 in the morning the other day, and I was moaning out loud. Like, we have a bathroom in our bedroom, so Hannah could definitely hear me. And I was like moaning out loud to let her know I was struggling. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had the pain where you can almost feel it going through your intestines.
Oh yeah, no good.
And it's not going to come out. And like, it feels like your stomach's going to pop at one point. Like, I thought if this pain keeps happening, I'm going to have to go to the hospital. Like, I don't know where it ends. I think it ends with me dying.
Grunt so much more than I used to in my early 20s. Like, first thing in the morning when I take a piss, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, so that was happening at like 1:30. She had to wake up at like 5 for work. I knew she wasn't happy. And I'm sitting on the toilet, and she's not responding to any of my grunts or moans. So at one point, and I say this on radio, I go to the wall and I just go, and then I was silent because I wanted her to think I passed out. And I wanted to see what her reaction would be. I'm a sicko. I wanted to see what her reaction would be. If I'm actually passed out on the ground, will she come in and save me? And there was nothing. So then I did it again. And then I said, all right, at what point are you going to hear that noise? And like, something's going to register to come in here and take me to the hospital. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
She didn't know it was fake. She didn't know that I was joking. She heard a thud after moaning and groaning and then just continued to sleep. So that was a very funny back and forth that we had on radio. I'm a psychopath, but like, I thought that was like a funny way to see if she would come to my rescue. And she didn't. She said, I'm the boy that cried wolf, which is true. I do that with a lot of things. So that's why I was on radio to talk about my intestinal problems. And then I kind of just threw out like they asked me like how the dynamics of Fore Play and the Barstool universe are, and do we, I think KFC was originally referencing if we don't like doing collaborations with other brands. I know that he had mentioned a lot of times, like he had the guys from Country Club Adjacent on. He had the guy from Country Club Adjacent on. And he's like, how come you guys like don't do anything with them? Like, they said they've reached out. And I was like, I just don't think that it was like a priority for us in the beginning. We were kind of like, I think we all were under the assumption that we were just going to kind of do our own thing. And we talked about this with Grant. Like, we were just going to keep making videos that we did, and we didn't really dive into that YouTube world. It was kind of like passing us by on the side. Like, we were in our own lane, and they were kind of just like going on their own. I mean, at that point, it's like the Autobahn, and they were flying 150 miles an hour, and now we're kind of on, like, we're trying to catch up a little bit from what we weren't doing. We weren't collaborating as much, but it didn't have any malicious like feelings behind it. It was just like, we're doing our own thing. We're like carving out our own brand. So I do think that that's more of like a new 2024 outlook. And we've had that for the past couple months. Like, we're going to start collaborating with more people. I think our fans like it. They've proven that they liked it. They watch all the stuff that we do with all these other brands, and it's proven to us. Like, obviously, we make mistakes, or we don't like see certain things, and now we're changing and we're like adapting, and that's just what businesses do. Still going to be the same Fore Play. We're going to adapt a little bit to like what this YouTube world is, which is all fine and good. So that's what he was asking me. But I essentially said, like, all these other brands at Barstool are doing golf stuff, and it came off a little bit more like there's like some feelings there, which I totally understand Will saying, where he's like, there was some undertone. I love Will, and I love Will and Taylor. They were amazing when they came to Pup Punk, when we did that Bojangles live show. I mean, I had Hannah with me, and she was like, those are two of the nicest guys I've met at the company. Like, I mean, they're also beautiful men, so I think she kind of got swept up in the whole thing, but she wouldn't stop talking about Will and Taylor. It was insane. They're the nicest guys and super genuine and all of that stuff. I think when it comes to the golf content and merchandise, we do think about it like it's life and death. And I think that's what Barstool has instilled in us. It's like, this is our job, this is our life, and this is everything that we're going to fight for. And if we have to do that at our own company, that sometimes sucks. And like, there is going to be some undertones where it's like, yeah, I would rather not do that and have these like weird conversations with people that we're supposed to be like loving and working with, where they're like, we're going to come out with something that you guys literally sell, and like it's your livelihood. Like, that's what you guys do on a daily basis, is you sell golf merchandise and content, and like, we're going to do it too, and hopefully people at our company watch ours instead of yours. Essentially, is like what we felt like was happening. And there's no stopping it. We're not going to gatekeep, is what everyone on Twitter says that we do. We're not going to gatekeep golf content, because if we did, as Riggs said on radio, we're doing a horrible job at it. And I thought that was one of the best lines that he's ever said. He's like, if we're gatekeeping golf at Barstool, we're like the worst gatekeepers of all time, because everyone's doing it. We don't stop chicklets. I watch every single Sandbagger. They just filmed them with fucking Timu Solani and Jeremy Roenick. They also have another one coming out with fucking Sean Avery and
they're
Kevin
fucking
Conley.
hilarious. If anything, we've tried to get on the Sandbagger.
I have a million text messages with Ryan Whitney and Biz saying, can we just fucking do a golf video? And it just doesn't happen. So it's like, the only thing that I disagreed with Will was he was at one point, like, and it was in the middle of his rant, and I totally see where he's coming from on a lot of it. But when he was like, you guys are just Fore Play and we're all Barstool Golf, like, you didn't just like create that, like the whole system did. We're a team. And that part was like almost disrespectful to everything that Riggs built and everything that like it was, everything that is now, where it came from. And Riggs kind of made those points on radio where it's like, dude, you weren't there when we weren't allowed to have a golf brand, and they had to put their lives and their jobs at risk for something that they felt was going to be successful. That is Barstool Golf. Like, that's the only reason why the company has a golf brand. So like, don't say that what he did and what we're doing is not Barstool Golf. Like, Fore Play is the name of the podcast, but like, Barstool has a golf brand because of what they did. And I don't think that's crazy to say. It's not like egotistical. It's not being a dick. It's not being a country club asshole. It's just a fact of like, I don't know why we have to even stand up for that. It's almost like black and white. Like, if you didn't do that, it wouldn't have golf content. It wasn't even allowed 5 years ago at Barstool. We were hiding it. We were going into the podcast rooms, hiding doing the podcast. I would go do a pizza review and I'd come in and we'd do it at 11 o'clock at night. I just think that like the people that weren't there from the beginning don't see like where it came from. And now you see it's this huge thing. You join on. Bussin' with the Boys is massive. They're huge. They sell a shit ton of merch. They sell out shows. They get the biggest guests in the world. And then they see like, oh, like, merchandise is coming to us to sell golf content, to sell golf merch. Let's just do it, which is fine. Like, that's something that we can't stop. Like, it's obviously going to hurt our feelings if we're not included in any of those conversations, because that's just the way life works. Like, we are the golf guys. If you're coming out with a golf thing, I don't know, shoot us a text and be like, should we do this? Do you guys want to be a part of it? When I came up with an idea with the astronaut merchandise line, I texted KFC and I'm like, hey, you guys sell the Moon Man stuff. Can we put that on a golf shirt? And if we do, let's go 50-50 Fore Play KFC radio revenue split, and let's promote it each. I'll do a video. promoting it. You guys talk about it on the podcast. I'll come on the podcast. We'll do it. Let's sell the shit out of this thing. Bang, it happened. Sold the shit out of it. That's like the world we come from. You made great points about Trent Ryan goes on Chicks in the Office and does Bachelor recaps. He doesn't just like start his own Bachelor recap podcast calling it the Luggage Guy Show. No, he like helps them build their brand because he's a part of it and he loves that show. It's just like if you love golf, you would come and help build this golf show. Like that's kind of where we've come from. I know it comes off as gatekeeping. I guess in some sense it is. And I don't think that's like a bad thing where you're so passionate about something that you want to make sure it's the most successful thing ever. At the end of the day, we've never stopped anyone from doing it. And I don't think we're ever going to stop anyone from doing it. I just think that it was like a pissy, I said the wrong thing on radio. Riggs was super forward in the text message. And I don't think Will's wrong in any of this. I think if I was on Will's side, I think I'd be just as mad where it's like, I'm just trying to make our brand successful too. And if merchandise is coming to me saying we can sell a shit ton of golf shirts, I'm going to say yes. Cause I want to, like, Will wants to sell a shit ton of golf shirts and his brand wants to make a shit ton of money also. So it's a weird situation. I wish that like he would see a little bit more where we're coming from on it. And hopefully after radio, I think that he did. I think that you did a good job kind of explaining the roots of what Barstool Golf is. It's not just, we're not doing it to be dicks. It's like we have to care about it. We have to.
Yeah, I think all that's incredibly well said. I think at the end of the radio, we all kind of came to that point. I think Kevin said it multiple times of like, I kind of see everybody's side of the story, and we got snippy, and a lot of context and a lot of tone gets lost through either a text or a tweet, and you get caught up in it. Like he sends a tweet kind of tagging me. I respond a little bit snippy. He sees like that it starts to get a little more heated than it should because people are responding like, oh, you got this. Then he puts out a video and now it's like, I'm getting bodied. So it started to elevate, which is good. It's good for Barstool. It's fine. We went on radio. And I do think one thing that drives me nuts is that I do think some people think that we believe we have all of this entitlement because we simply slapped the word Barstool and golf together on a hat and that now we own it. And I don't think that they know that, no, that Barstool Golf doesn't necessarily just stand for all of Barstool Sports as a whole, and that people kind of like golf too. It's like they tie that to us. Like we're in a video game. Like they have pictures of us on the merchandise stands and like PGA, just like people very much look at Barstool Golf as something that we built, like Frankie said, like from the ground up. We built it when Dave Portnoy was dragging us on radio, just absolutely berating us for filming golf videos during the day and trying to get golf videos as something that stuck and then we could make money off of. He called us the Boondoggle Boys. And we've been battling that for 6, 7, 8 years, and it took a lot to get to this point. And so, you know, I get that if you come in and you didn't see all of that, you might think that like, oh, these guys are just profiting off of like the Barstool name and that people like golf. And like, is there a very probably small like element of that? Sure. And we work at Barstool and we work with the merchandise crew who are fantastic and the live events crew who are like, we're very, very tied to Barstool in a lot of ways. We depend on them in a lot of ways. They depend on us in a lot of ways. But that's our fucking brand. This logo, like we worked with our designers to come up with. This Barstool Golf script, like we worked with that to come up with and put it on merchandise. The Fore Play name and the Barstool Golf and the B Cross tees and all that stuff is us. That's like we worked our asses off to build all of that. And I think that, sure, are there some people that probably buy like Barstool Golf stuff that just like Barstool and golf? I'm sure that happens a little bit, but I think the vast, vast majority of people that buy it know that it represents and like stands for this brand right here, for Fore Play and what we've done with golf as a whole at Barstool. And like we're very protective of that. That's our livelihood. That's what's going to be on our tombstone when we're done. It's like, this is what we built. This is what we're known for. This is what our entire professional careers were all about. And so we're fucking protective of it. I don't think that's
seeing both sides of it, because a listener that's hearing that and hearing us have to defend why we're like, we did this, it comes off so dickish and it comes off so egotistical. Like for us have to say that. And like, I would never come after Bussin with the Boys or any of these other brands and like try and figure out why they're not successful, or you know what I mean? Like everyone, like I have respect for every single brand that has built it up at Barstool Sports. I don't know why it went to that point of like, you're not that, you're this. That was a weird part of that whole conversation. And I don't even think he probably meant it. I think it was just like, you guys were in the heat of it, but I don't like to have to be on our side of like having to defend, like we have to say like, oh, like we came up with the logos and like that puts us in such a fucking, like if I'm listening to this podcast right now, driving my car, I'm like, these guys are dicks because like we're saying we did this and we did that and you didn't. We're only being put into that position because like the guy did a video that had like 5 million views on Twitter saying that like we don't want to collaborate and like we are a silo of a group and we don't care about essentially Barstool Sports like at a grand level. He's like, we don't want to do anything with anyone, which is not true. It's just like, it's not true. So we have to defend ourselves at some point. It sucks. It sucks to have to defend yourself when you know that it's like coming from a place like this. I hate that. I hate this position. When I saw this all happening, I was like, I fucking despise this because we're going to have things like Riggs just said, like, yeah, we started from the beginning. Like we're in a video game. Like I think people know I think people know that we're Barstool Golf. I don't know that we have to say that out loud. It's so fucking, I hate it. So I don't know. I apologize for even dropping the bomb. I apologize to Will for any sort of undertones that he did not like. I hope that we've all moved past it. I think we have. I think you guys did a great job on radio. I would love to do a video with them at the end of the day because I think they're amazing. And I think at the end, I think we should like come up with ways to legitimately grow each other's brands. I think that's like what this whole thing is here to do. I think that's why we all work for the same company.
Absolutely. I do too. I think that's kind of where we left it off.
Yeah.
And again, we're on there. Like we're trying to make people laugh and entertain each other. So we're fucking giving each other shit and trying to poke and prod the other guy. That's Barstool. That's what it is. That's locker room talk. That's what Barstool Sports is. So yeah, it sucks when you're kind of trying to defend yourself. It sucks, like you said, when somebody puts out a video and it's going to get millions and millions of views and people like, you got to put your side of it out there too and try to defend yourself.
Also, I will say we know the other side of it. Merchandise does go to these brands and say, you guys should do this because they see the numbers and they want to have growth across the entire company. So I'm not like, at the end of the day, I'm not blaming literally anyone for doing that. It's just the way that it went down. Obviously the text messages, like you said, it's just so stupid. It could have been so much better.
My thing is, I didn't care that they were releasing golf merch.
Right.
I just thought his idea sucked. That's like, I don't know why that has to, like, that's not tied to me gatekeeping anything. I didn't like the idea. I thought fabricating some beef to put, I just hated the idea. That was it. And it got somehow tied into like, we're gatekeeping everything about golf, which I just don't think that's the case. If we are, like I said, we're doing a horrible job of it. So that was never ever was like, fuck, I can't believe you guys are releasing golf merch. I don't care. Chiclet's been doing it forever. Like we said, like, am I going to go out of my way to promote other people's golf merch over ours? Probably not. Like, I want people to buy our golf merch.
Yeah, that's an insane ask.
Like, so,
if you think about it on a grand level, it's a crazy ask.
My response was quite simply, I had 2 responses in history related to this. One of them was, I think that's kind of a shitty idea. I'm probably just going to ignore it if you guys do that, but go ahead and do whatever you want, which is what I put in the text message. The second one was I was tagged in a tweet and I responded saying exactly that. Again, that was my only interaction the entire situation. And then I went on radio today and defended myself. So at the end of the day, I didn't like the idea. Maybe could have been more collaborative with them and said, hey, I don't like that idea. How about this idea? You guys promote some of ours. We'll promote some of yours. Maybe should have done that in the future. But at the end of the day, I think it's fine. It was a big thing for a couple of days. We went on Barstool Radio for, you were on there yesterday. I was on there today. If people want to listen to the whole thing, they can.
Done.
Techniques headphones deliver legendary hi-fi sound quality that you would expect only to come from Techniques. State-of-the-art, industry-leading noise canceling to shut out all the noise that distracts you from staying on top of your game. We talk about a lot about this on flights. Took my 87th flight of the year yesterday. When you're on planes, you got that pilot. They just love to chit-chat about every detail, the wind, and we're going. We just don't care. We're trying to listen to stuff. We're trying to watch a movie or listen to a show or whatever it might be. Planes are just loud. The engines are loud.
Isn't that insane, though? I've thought about that. Like we like don't even pay attention to the pilots, and like when we exit the plane, we don't even look at them, and like we get off as if like we're supposed to. Those guys just flew us through the sky. They have insane talent and power over us. If you think about how nuts, if I'm sitting in that cockpit, I'm thinking I'm a god up here. Like the fact that these people back in that are just sitting down drinking their mimosas are not listening to what I'm saying. I'm flying them through the sky like Superman. Like it's crazy. I thought about this on my last flight. I walked right by the pilots and I'm like, those 2 men in there that I was looking, I just walked right by. Insane day of work they just had.
I honestly, I think that they're just a hair not visible enough when you leave. Like the flight attendants are right there, right? They're like in that little nook where the bathroom and the service station is. And you always say thank you to them. And like the pilot they're always sitting on like one knee kind of off the chair, one on, and the captain's and they're up there and they're just a little too removed. You're kind of like trying to hustle. People are making connections and like, you just you're right. You just don't really get that relationship with
anyway,
them.
with Techniques, you can completely just not even hear them. You're just going to have them not a part of your flight experience because it's going to be completely isolated. You're just going to hear things you want to hear. I'm really excited. We placed our orders for these. So we've been talking about them for a couple of weeks now. We don't have them. I'm wearing right now nothingness headphones from Delta that they give you, the free ones. I cannot wait to upgrade to Techniques. I'm telling you right now, it's going to change my life. Like for the podcast, it's going to change my life for my everyday editing. Right now, I got to go downstairs and do a Wyndham Clark tease, and I'm using the worst headphones ever. Techniques is going to change my life. I can't wait for them to come. I got my shipping address. I got my shipping update. They are on their way to my house. I'm going to have Techniques. It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to start using them. I can't wait.
I'm setting up like a little studio in my, not here, but there's like a little outhouse.
Ooh.
So I'm going to have like, you know, one of the fancy microphones that Frankie has. I'm going to have like a ring light, and I'm going to have some good earphones because these ones hurt my ears.
Oh,
can't have that. They're elegantly wireless, simple charging case, no ear fatigue, Dan. So advanced fit ergonomics, what they call it. So you can wear these earbuds securely and comfortably over long stretches of time, whether all day, at the office, or even 18 holes. Shop for Techniques true wireless AZ80 earbuds at techniques.com. That's TECHNICS.com. Once again, shop for Techniques true wireless AZ80 earbuds at techniques.com. I think that's all I got. I know my Chipotle is outside now.
I've got
the guy
a few
couldn't get in,
things
so
quick,
sitting
few quick
outside.
things.
And hopefully a squirrel hasn't eaten it yet. Yep.
The first one, remember how I said it's between 6 and 22 days is what they quoted to move my stuff from New York?
Yep.
Friday, so tomorrow when you're listening to this, is day 22. We were informed yesterday that the stuff was picked up on Tuesday. It was sitting in New York for 3 weeks. So it's not gonna be here for another week. So it's gonna take 28 days, roughly, maybe 29, for our stuff to get from New York to California. So I'm in the new house, but the stuff is still not here. And the moving industry is such a racket. You can't get an answer from anybody. This guy's the driver, and this guy's and then they're drop shipping through this guy. It's horrible. The second thing, so I just wanted to say that, fuck the moving industry. Second thing is I'm a little afraid that golf is straying a little too far from the thing, which is golf. I understand what we're trying to do with, you know, I was at the Netflix Cup and I had a lot of fun being there. I was drinking with the boys, and, you know, it was great.
Okay.
I just worry about, you know, and I'm thinking about the TGL coming up, which is starting in like a month and a half. And the guys I talk to don't even really know what it's going to look like or how it's going to work. Golf is trying a lot of things, and I think you kind of get away with it because so many people like golf that the American Expresses of the world are still going to invest, or, you know, they're still going to advertise in the Mercedes-Benz because they want to be involved in it. But like, I'm looking at these promos for TGL, and I'm looking at this Netflix Cup stuff, and it's like, I just don't know that the desire is there for all of this stuff. And I think golf maybe has a little bit of an inflated sense of self right now because the Saudis have just like come in and blown shit up, that everyone thinks that, oh, if we just do this and we innovate, we're going to unlock this massive audience, and this is going to happen. It's going to be so cool. We're going to have teams, and they're going to play against each other. And it's like, maybe there's a reason that the tour was the way the tour was for 50 years. And that going from 0 to 100 with all this stuff, maybe it's going to backfire just a little bit.
I think for me, I think a lot of it is just that people realize that the typical golf product is pretty boring and tired and lame, and they're trying to do something different. And I think a lot of it is like they see Topgolf, for example, is pretty damn popular. And so they're like, okay, how can we somehow make golf more entertaining? I don't know that it's necessarily like, oh, we can have the PGA Tour audience and there's got to be even more of this giant golf audience. I honestly think a lot of the effort is like golf on a whole, unless you're an insane golf like nerd about everything on a week-to-week basis, is pretty fucking boring. Like, I think the product is pretty boring. And so I think that people are trying to come up with something new, and that's risky. And you're going to have shit that's going to stink.
That's the risk.
Sure, I think that a lot of people were like, I don't know that they're necessarily like, we can siphon off this audience and that audience. I really think like a lot of it is just, there's got to be a way with these stars that are entertaining and that people like and that are pretty famous people and have like star power and clout, that we can do something a little bit different than what we traditionally do. And yeah, that's kind of that's all I think people are trying to do.
They're spending so much money on these things, and like TGL is like a big investment for the tour. And at the thing yesterday was this crazy build out, and they've got the Netflix Cup on the Sphere, and they rented out the Wynn, and it's this whole like massive event. And the purses are, there's going to be like 18 tournaments that have $20 million. It all just feels a bit inflated, I guess is my point.
But I in terms of like TGL and all these things like the Netflix Cup, I think that having it as an addition to the already quote unquote boring or just standard PGA Tour world is fine. I don't think that that's necessarily a like too much of a risk. It's not like they're changing the whole format of golf. It's just like it's an extension of golf, and they're trying to innovate it in certain ways. Like I don't know if it's the correct answer. Well, none of us will know. They don't even know yet. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're taking too much of a leap of faith where like, Live legit changed the whole system.
Yeah.
That was a fucking risk. Like
that is a key distinction. That is a key distinction that the PGA Tour with this TGL, they're not pretending that this is like, oh, we live and die for
not
these.
The future of golf.
We're doing a little fun. We're having a little bit of fun.
They're trying to like get golf in the prime time is what they're trying to do. Like, what are people going to? When is it going to be airing? It's like at night.
It's Monday nights. Yeah, it's in a dead zone between Monday Night Football and it's in like a good part of the calendar for sure.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, I don't think they're trying to get Tiger Woods to like balance a fucking bowling pin on his forehead. I think they're just like, go hit shots at night when you wouldn't be hitting golf shots, and maybe people will watch it and they'll find it entertaining, and that'll carry over into Thursday through Sunday coverage. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't feel like it's gonna have that purpose. But those are risks that I could be wrong. I would love to be wrong, but then those are risks that you have to take. I just feel like it's gotten a little inflated. That's all.
Maybe because the same guys are all doing it, right? Like, hopefully, if this is all successful, like you'll get new guys, or like maybe like the Grant Horvats and all. Like, you just need maybe some new blood. Like, if you're just taking the same guys and putting them in all different forms of golf, it might get a little repetitive. Like, if you see Justin Thomas play Thursday through Sunday, and then you see him on Monday, and then you see him in the Netflix Cup, and then you see him on Netflix. Is it the same people too many times? Maybe that's why it feels
right.
like
and
they're
also,
just kind of getting paraded around.
I wonder if those guys are going to get tired of doing all these different things.
Right.
It's like we already saw it with Rahm. He's like, end of the day, I'm just going to like play golf.
Right,
and, I think Rory pulling out I think these guys are like, there's way more asked of professional golfers now than there was 5 years ago. Like, you got to be a fucking, primetime entertainer. And this TGL thing is going to rely heavily on these golfers functioning as entertainers.
I also think like, though, there's also 500 times the amount of money available right now. So it's like, they're being asked a lot more than they were 5 years ago, but it's like they can make an unimaginable amount of money right now. We're talking about guys in golf that just got paid $200 million to play less golf, and then they're getting these other opportunities, and now the PGA Tour. So it's like you're getting asked a lot more, and you're doing. But also, when you could make the best player was making $5-10 million a year, and now they're making $50 million before their like signing bonuses and before all the off course stuff. Like, that's fucking crazy. So it is. I think you're right. I think the whole thing's probably inflated. I think eventually it'll kind of come back to reality a little bit, hopefully settle at a higher level than it started. That'd be good for us. We like that there's money pumped in, but also I don't think it's that crazy that like it would be pretty inflated because these guys with billions of dollars and no legitimate business model and plan to profitability have put in $1 billion, and like, okay, of course it's fucking inflated.
No, it's a gold rush. It's a total gold rush right now, and the agents know it, and the brands know it, and the players know it. It's like, get yours right now. Eat while the money is still there.
Yeah, you'd be crazy not to. And let's get a little bit of that to Fore Play. Let's get it over to the Fore Play.
Bring it in.
Golf merch. Do a couple videos. All right, I gotta eat. I'm starving, absolutely starving. So, thanks to everybody for listening. We're gonna do next week is Thanksgiving week, so we're gonna do one show. We'll have a Tuesday show, and then Thursday is Thanksgiving, so we'll only have one show next week, and then bang, we'll be right into December after that, and Barstool Classic Championship. Everything continues to roll on. So go check out that Wyndham Clark video. Everybody have a lovely weekend. Hit it hard.
Hit hard.
Hit hard.